Hey guys, Walliebob back to knock out this video. Couple announcements. One, happy birthday, Jack. Happy belated birthday. It's pretty awesome, dude. And excuse the tardiness of this video. We've all been there. It's been a very interesting and educational hard knock life week. So, right, okay. Dealing with feeling alone. Um, have you ever felt isolated because of being trans? How do you handle it? I mean, yes, most definitely, I felt that way. Um, and I think most of it is what for me was realizing. Most of it was realizing the limitations of my friends, or the limited understanding. It's like we've been friends for years, and of course, for them, they want everything to be the same. Um, and of course it's not the same, but nobody writes a manual on, how to deal with your trans friends. I mean, and even if they did, that would be it would be obsolete because not everyone's the same. So, it is lonely. It is isolating sometimes. Because say, you really want something to happen. Say you're just worried about, like, how you talk. And everyone else is like, well, you're kind of obsessing over this. And you're insisting that you aren't because you feel like that's important for you. Sometimes it's really hard to get them to understand. I mean, it's kind of weird because sometimes you could just be perceiving them as being insensitive, and they're just like, maybe you should calm down. It's kind of confusing because you don't know whether or not to chill out because you're being ridiculous or they're being ridiculous. It's it's kind of weird. So I've noticed that sometimes just relaxing relaxing and taking baby steps, of course, setting those goals that I've talked about, um, and understand that they won't understand, you know. How can you say to someone, have you ever felt that, out of place, or, you know, I mean, most people don't. And if you're lucky enough to have other trans friends, then, you know, that seems like it may not be a problem, but you know what, everyone else has different issues. Everyone has different issues. Sometimes you have to seek out different types of friends. Sometimes you need to freshen up, toss a friend in there, just talk to people who are different or who have not been in your friend circle, you know. Um, see, suggestions on how to connect with others, not just romantically. Um, Socialize more. And I know that sounds counterintuitive because it's like, oh, well, I don't feel completely myself. I don't feel like I pass. I don't feel like, you know what I mean? Um, Socialize more. Go to different events, like, if you have the time, like maybe, what do you call it? Not customer service, but, oh god, I lost my train of thought. Like giving to others when you have the time. So maybe a soup kitchen, maybe giving out food to the homeless, maybe going to LGBTQ youth support groups and giving your time. Community service, there it is. Wow. Yeah. So sometimes you can do it that way. And it also teaches you how to socialize. As males, sometimes you can just people watch and understand certain nuances. Or if you don't want to do anything pertaining to LGBTQ or of that nature, or things that I've suggested, just take a day off, or a day off that you don't have anything to do, and just walk around your city if that is safe. Talking to people. You'd be surprised. I know that we're like all in our phones these days, but you'd be surprised how you can just connect with someone on a subway, depending on your subway. Not everyone should do this, but or connect with someone that your server, or you know what I mean. It's there are connections everywhere. It's just when you pull yourself out of yourself, only then will you see it. So, suggestions for building support systems. Um, I've actually built support systems through people who've opened up to me. Like, say someone is just different and they know they're different, they're willing to share that with you. You can kind of test the water and see whether or not they're accepting of everyone or just themselves, or, you know what I mean? You can see where that lies for them, I guess, through certain conversations. And, depending on how they react, possibly you could, say, please, if you're one of those people who aren't actually passing right now, you could just say, please call me he, or not even, just break the ice, and that, I'm kind of going through a transition right now. Or you could just not say anything and let them figure it out. Some people are actually really observant. I know, shocker, but some people are actually really observant. So I would go about it like that. It's a touch and go. Some people, you can't tell them anything. Some people, they are actually genuinely good people and keep their business to themselves, and they expect the same from you. Like, when you give their business, they expect you to keep that business to yourself. So, definitely get out there, man, because there's no reason to feel alone. If you aren't really comfortable with getting connected with people on a face-to-face basis because of where you live, because of the type of people that run in your city, there's always the internet. But that's still not really like a real life human connection. You can still work with that. And of course, Facebook, there are tons of groups, tons of groups, but not all groups are the same. Some groups have people who are just not, they just spew their frustration, their frustration in life, their negativity, and you have to be careful of that. That's not, I don't know about you, but that's not something I want to be around. So, and then, also volunteering at animal shelters. Animals, if you don't have allergies and you can't stand them, animals, man, they're really unconditional as long as they're not like in a horrible place or they're not ornery. They really do love you unconditionally, man. They just do, especially if they've been abandoned. They're just like, oh hey, we're doing this right now, I'm loving on you, and they help relieve stress a lot. And sometimes they're really good substitutes. I was actually talking to a therapist about that. They're really good substitutes for bonding, and they're just, not like, not like you're like, oh, Gollum in the corner with your little kitty, but like, it kind of really keeps humanity open. It has you thinking about someone else other than yourself. And maybe even if you can't necessarily afford to keep a cat or a dog, just volunteering at an animal shelter, definitely might do that for you, give you that connection, so you don't look up, 2 years later, 3 years later, after you've completely transitioned, and you're like ice cold, or like bitter Andy. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to be around a bitter Andy, so, or have to like deal with those issues. So whatever you do, just stay safe and remain aware. So happy bonding, guys. The bonds are out there. You just have to go get them. I hope you guys stay warm this really cold November and have a wonderful week. I'll see you next week. All right. Bye bye.